Yeah. When I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me. When I pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me. Pull up on the scene, dead fresh and casket clean, they gon' hate on me. Gon' hate on me.
Well. Thanks for coming back around. That's Deem. I'm Kay. And this is the Biscayne Breakdown. We're coming to you live on Sunday evening, about 8:30-ish Eastern time. And of course, what that would mean is it's directly following the Miami Heat's loss to the Washington Wizards. Yes. The 10-win
NBA
Washington Wizards. Well, Detroit Pistons might have a little something to say about that. However, listen, there are a lot of things to be said, and we're gonna get into a little bit of it, but we would just had to mention it. I mean, that's how you have to start a show on a day like this after a loss like that. What are your thoughts on it, Dean?
Oh man, I'm really hurt about the just the way we lost. That's what it was. The way we lost, the team we lost to. It was just bad. Like the defense down the stretch, they played horrible down the stretch on a defensive end. We couldn't really. We didn't have much of an offense. I won't say we didn't have much of an offense the whole game. I think the fourth quarter, the offense just was it totally disappeared. Free throw shooting was horrible the whole game. A lot of guys, it just didn't seem like they night. It was just an off night for them. Yeah, man, like it was just a oh man, just a bad loss. I can't even put no words on it.
I think you just hit on it right there, man. It's a bad loss, and with that loss, it makes the Miami Heat's third in a row. Of course, losing to the Dallas Mavericks and then losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder in back-to-back games. On Thursday and Friday.
Okay,
go ahead.
I don't even think that the Dallas and OKC losses, it didn't frustrate me as quite as this loss did.
Hold on, don't see. That's why I was trying to get to that point. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because that's a good point. So when you think about this being the third loss, it just kind of like compiles on top of the issue in itself, which is you hate any loss. This Miami Heat team shouldn't be losing to this Washington Wizards team, as you mentioned, 10 wins. Possibly one of the worst teams in the league, to be fair, as you mentioned. And it frustrates you, especially coming on the back-to-back losses where you consider this a get-right game. Heading down the stretch here where this Miami team is supposed to be priming, it's a very tough loss. There's really not much else for me to say. But I would say that we could look at a few things from this loss that if you wanted to say, what would you pin this loss on specifically, other than those things you already mentioned, Dean?
Not like it'd just be the collapse on defense in the fourth quarter. That's what I would like just mainly focus on. A lot of guys just seemed out of sync also, like on the offensive end. Jimmy's shot selection wasn't the best to me tonight. He shot like 0 for 5 or 0 for 4 from I think it was 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, and they were just awful looks. I think every last one of them was just awful looks. And Duncan, Duncan he couldn't find his shot the whole game. I think he made 2 shots all game, 2 threes all game. It was awful, man. It was just awful.
Sorry about that. I was on mute. I think he ended up making 3 or 4, but either way, he didn't come on until late. So it was a situation where he really didn't help in the way he tends to help with his shot making. But I mean, just overall, from the perspective of this Miami Heat team, they had got up several times and proceeded to let the Wizards come back. So that defense you mentioned was a problem, and it wasn't just something that showed up in the fourth quarter, but it showed up at different points throughout the game. And then you consider the fact that the Washington Wizards shot over 40% from three at the end when the Miami Heat were trying to actually come back or make the game a close one to keep it from getting too far out of hand. The Wizards just kept making shots. I mean, yeah, the Miami Heat did in that last minute pulled it within two, but before that, the Wizards actually had to stretch it out to 10, and a lot of that was tough shot making. But again, you don't give them any credence because this Miami Heat team has no business losing to this Washington Wizards team.
No, that's
Before
not
we
me.
move on, what are your closing thoughts before we move on from this one?
I got nothing.
I got you. I got you. Very somber mood, man. You hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, and it's something that showed up in previous wins and losses. Rotational wise, or what this Miami Heat team
Mm.
wasn't able to put on the floor right now. I mean, you're not going to talk about that specifically, but that doesn't have anything to do with them like needing the firepower. So, I mean, just missing shot making when it comes to Kevin Love and Tyler Hero has been something that has reared his head for the last 3 or 4 games. And though, that's something you hate to mention in a game like this, missing Kevin Love really showed up from a rebounding perspective here. And then also just like needing somebody to make a couple of shots for him. I feel like, of course, getting him and Tyler Hero back will help stabilize things. But either way, you should be able to be Washington. It's just something that's been worth saying for the last 3 or 4 games, but especially in those moments where your typical guys aren't able to get it going like they should be. That's when guys like, Tyler Hero or Kevin Love, the guys specifically missing, have hit big shots, which is something that has happened throughout the season or during their time playing for the Miami Heat. So that's not like, reaching for something. Again, none of that should matter when it comes to losing a game to the Washington Wizards. It's just all worth noting. Um, there's nowhere to go but up from a loss like this, and they're gonna have to quickly do that. But before we move ahead really quick, I'm gonna let you get your points out on the Oklahoma City and Dallas Mavericks loss. They were both close defeats. If you look back at the Dallas Mavericks game again that was played on Thursday, they lost to the Dallas Mavericks 108-114 in Dallas. And of course, if you look Friday at the Oklahoma City Thunder game, they lost to the Thunder 100-107 in Oklahoma City. So, I mean, from the perspective that Dean was talking about, I get it as far as those not being bad losses when you look at the team and the competition and what they're able to do to you. But at the end of the day, you just would have thought that this game was a chance to get back from what at the end of the day was still 2 defeats. What are your thoughts on those 2 games, Dean?
I mean, that Dallas loss was like, a long time ago in basketball terms, but I think, it just we couldn't control Luca. And I think in the what the first half, not the first half, the first quarter, I think Jimmy did a good job guarding him. I know Jimmy was guarding him in the first quarter, did a really good job. I think
They really did a good job for the first half, predominantly. Actually, the first half
yeah,
they really held him in check from a Luka Doncic perspective.
and I think Nico, listen, he made a lot of great plays early on in that game. And I was just pissed that, he didn't finish the game off with enough minutes. I think, he was getting a lot of guys involved, making a lot of nice passes. And it was just, I don't know, that win right there. I mean, I'm sorry, that loss, it was just, okay, you you kind of got outplayed a little bit at the end on that game. It had nothing to do with, how good Dallas is. It was just like you guys just got outplayed that game. They just made more plays. And I feel like the same way with OKC. I feel like guys didn't step up. When I mean when guys didn't step up, I'm talking and just solely on Bam. That was one of his worst games of his career. Like that was just an awful game. And if he would have just played halfway decent, we'll pull that one out. Man, shout out to Shea, man. He was on one. He was on one. It seemed like he was going to struggle early on, and he found his game, and he just, like he said in the press conference, man, he's always consistent. So shout out to him, man. I just feel like Bam needed to do more of that game. Defensively, it was great. Out of the 3 games, out of the Dallas, OKC, and that game, out of this Wizards game, I'm sorry, that was the best I've seen defensively in those 3 games, I would say.
When it comes to the Dallas game, for me, the turning point again was that third quarter. If you look at the
Yeah.
first half of that game, Luka Doncic scored 12 points. And then if you look at that third quarter, um, the man had 17 points. Like, I mean, that's pretty much the point of that game where everything changed for the Miami Heat.
It was a tough 12
And
too. It was a tough 12. He wasn't getting them easy.
oh no, it wasn't. It was 17. You mean it was a tough 17?
No,
He
I'm
was
talking
hitting
about
like you.
the in the first half.
Oh, you talking about the first half? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, because there were a lot of situations where they were being physical with him, and he kind of got frustrated there, which is what you need to do when you're talking about a guy like that. You get him to have to battle himself as well as you. And then when you look at the Oklahoma City game, for me, I think it was one point in the third period where they went on a 17-0 run.
17-0 run. Oh my God.
They won a 17-0 run. It might have even got higher than that, but I know it was 17-0. And at that point, it was just a situation where the Miami Heat weren't able to climb back in it. And listen, the Thunder went on a 17-0 run while the Miami Heat were up like 15 points. So not only did they take the lead, but then they proceeded to pull away. It's crazy. So I mean, I just feel like those are situations where they have, and I put that on Spo, honestly. In the midst of a 17-0 run, he typically takes a timeout. So that's against his typical behavior. Now he does allow his guys to figure it out. He don't quickly, you know what I'm saying, overcoach him or whatever. But at some point during that run, he typically takes a timeout. And I just feel like moving forward, that's a situation where it's trial and error. You got to know, you got to trust your guys, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do your job as well. And for me, Spo should have took a timeout, but we're not here to criticize him because, like I said, he top 15. I never question him. I honestly don't question the team. I mean, these things happen. Lows happen. I still think this is the same team that once they're fully capable, once they're fully healthy as they're going to get, of course, once they continue to get guys assimilated into the lineup to figure out their spaces. Because, I still would contest that whole Terry Rozier to Bam Adebayo connection isn't as fluid as people want to make it out to be. There's still some kinks there to work out. You see a lot of hitchiness in that. When it works, it's pretty, very pretty, but it doesn't always work to the point where you want to say it's something you can trust. And that's something that's going to continue to develop as they get more games in with each other. And you just hope that they got enough games before the playoffs to actually make an impact there. When you look at Terry Rozier as a whole, his offensive game is actually continuing to blossom. So you trust that will continue to increase and continue to add explosively in the confines of what the Miami Heat want to do as a team unit. Now, back to that point I was making. When you're talking about guys like Kevin Love, and of course, this isn't about the rotation, but we want guys like Tyler Hero to potentially come off the bench in place of Duncan. Think about these situations with Kevin Love and Tyler Hero off the bench. Again, this is the Wizards. Take the Wizards out of it because you should never lose a game regardless of Kevin Love or Tyler Hero is playing. But take the Wizards out of it. And this is something that we have to consider moving forward, especially in light of these 3 losses. Just look at them as a whole and not individually for, losing to the Wizards on Sunday, because that's always what sticks out in your mind. A bad loss like that, especially amid a 3-game losing streak. But just imagine in all 3 of those games, if you got, say, a Tyler Hero potentially coming off the bench, or Kevin Love potentially, and Kevin Love coming off the bench, or if you got Tyler Hero just period with his ability to score. Because I don't know if him in the starting lineup has the same impact. But that's a conversation we're gonna have. It's just hard to imagine. It's just hard to imagine Spo not at least considering it. So imagine if you had Tyler Hero's impact coming off the bench or Kevin Love. Would you think the results still have been the same in these last 3 games?
No, I think Tyler would have been more useful in that OKC game. That's my opinion.
Kevin Love or Tyler, I think definitely in the midst of that 17-0 run, one of them hit his shots.
Yeah, I think like that run they went on, I think Tyler would have made a couple shots. But then again, like it still falls on the defense, bro. Like the defense was just. I think that
agree.
was the best. I think that was the best game out of these 3 games. That was the best game they played defensively. outside of that run. When OKC went on that big run, I think that it makes it look bad, but that was the best they played until that run happened.
I mean, I agree, and they have those levels, and we've seen them hit those levels during the midst of that late February stretch where they were winning games. So, what we have to, I think, at this point, move forward thinking is, they bound to have lulls. We've seen them have lulls in previous years, and then going to have success in the playoffs. So for me, this is a bad loss. It's a bad 3-game stretch. But it just gives you the opportunity to climb out of it. Now, Duncan, I mean, not Dun- I'm reading your name. I'm sorry, Deem. Now tell me why I'm wrong and why this shit is different.
No, I don't think you're wrong, but I think they gotta hurry up and get this defense together. It's crunch time, man. It's crunch time. They gotta this defense gotta tighten up.
If
I'm not saying
if
you're
if
wrong though,
no 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 no
but
no, I got you. I got you.
they gotta play better on the defense side of the ball, man.
I don't
That's their
disagree
bread
with
and
you.
butter.
I think more consistently they have to play better because here's the thing again. And let me go back to the schedule here. When you look at that stretch, I would say between January 31st and let's say Tuesday, March 5th, where let me see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, they won nearly 13 of the 14 to 15 games they played. Like, that was because the defense was more on a rope. So we've seen them play that high level Miami Heat defense recently. They just had a 3-game low, and this gives Spo an opportunity to go in there and coach them up and show them how trash they've been, which is what you want. I mean, again, you want to see them gearing up towards their best ball at this time of year, but at the same time, we're still in the early phase of that grind. Like, I'm the type of person that this is a bad loss, terrible loss. You hate to lose these games at any point, but um, is this doomsday for me? No, it never is time to jump off a cliff because for every, super, oh my God, first round exit thing you've seen from this Miami Heat team, you've seen at least two. All right, there it is. This is that same team that's capable of beating anybody on a given night. And I just feel like when things matter the most, everybody gonna lock in. So again, I think that we answered the question about, the firepower off the bench, Tyler Hero, Kevin Love, what they're gonna bring back when they come back. We do have to address another elephant in the room, though. Bam hasn't had his best 3-game stretch.
Oh man, I couldn't wait.
Bam hasn't had his best 3-game stretch, Deem. The Wizards game was actually a little better from just a perspective of seeing the bucket go through the hole. But for
Yeah.
me, he was still a little bit off. I'm gonna give you the floor here, and I'll kind of just give my rebuttal and synopsis at the same time after you talk. What's been going on with Bam the last 3 games? What do you see?
Just not in rhythm. Like it's easy. Just not in rhythm. Not finding. He's not getting to how he's used to playing. But and it's sometimes where we look at a shot and like Bam usually hit that shot. Like that's a shot he usually make. That play he won't usually make that bad of a play. It's just he just gotta find his shot again, and hopefully it comes quick. It comes back quick because like you said, it's not time to jump off of the cliff just yet. But you don't want to slide too down in the standards. You don't want to slide too down in the standards. And I'm not ready to sit here and say throw my arms up and like it's over. But we need Bam to step up. And we had these conversations off camera and in the group chat, me, you, and Kev and Joel. If Bam's going to be that number two, which me and you both agree he is on this team, he's the number two option on this team. He has to play that part, and he has to do it on a more consistent base. And that's the problem I have with Bam. I love Bam, but he just need to be more consistent on that base. Now there's a lot of rumbles on Twitter where guys is calling for him. He's not an all-star. He's not this. He's not that. He's horrible. We need to trade him. I disagree with all those. The thing I do agree with is we should want more from Bam because we see he's better than what he is. He has that potential to be way better than what he is, and he kept himself at times. He kept himself. Every player go through slumps. It is what it is. The greatest players go through slumps. It's how they fight out of those slumps and what they do to get out of those slumps. And there's just a slump that Bam is in that he's going to come out of. I believe he's going to come out of. But when he come out of this slump, he needs to play the best ball he's ever played in his life. Because now we're gearing up to that moment to where it's playoff time, it's crunch time, bro. You got to step up. And I don't have a problem with fans criticizing his game and criticizing the way he's been playing since the All-Star break. But to sit here and say he's a bum and he's not a true All-Star and he's not this and he's not that, they completely wrong. But it's just time for Bam to step up.
I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, to say he's a bum and he's not an all-star and all of that, as you said, and just to say it, myself as well. No, they're completely wrong. 20-10, that's not a bum. But at the same time, Bam has been, to your point, out of rhythm, and I would say a step behind. And I don't know, sometimes that happens in basketball, and typically the way to get out of that is to just go get a bunch of shots up in your own time. So I would say between here and Wednesday, when Denver, I want to say comes to Miami. Let me look at the schedule again. As Denver comes to Miami for the next game on Wednesday, Bam probably needs to be in the gym, not only getting a bunch of shots up, but hitting that free throw line too. And that's a thing where you can literally tell that his timing is just off. Like, his free throws have really struggled. I mean, he hasn't been great all season, but his free throws have really struggled. His free throw shooting has really struggled in the last 3 games or so. And that speaks to not only his offense, but there have been times on defense where he's Bam, so he's going to make a lot of tremendous defensive plays, but he hasn't been quite as crisp or sharp as he typically is there either. And if you look specifically at his offense, I know putting the ball in the hole is the objective, but before you can do that, you got to be able to successfully catch the ball. There were at least 3 occasions in this Wizards game where he was spoon-fed opportunities for an easy look, and he simply missed the ball. Like, all of that's related for me. So I feel like he just need to go again, as you mentioned, Deem, find his rhythm. And for me, that's going to come by getting some shots up and specifically getting some work in at the free throw line. Before Wednesday, of course, when you welcome in arguably the best player in the league, arguably the best offensive player in the league, and probably one of the best players ever when it's all said and done in Jokic. Sorry, that we all going to end up doing that a million times before it's all said and done. Anything on that? Anything on what I said about Bam before we move on a little bit to this Denver Nuggets game?
No, I got nothing else to say about Bam. Just need him to step up. That's it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think that he will. Again, back to everything we said about this Miami Heat team. It's not time to jump off the Bam bandwagon or jump off the Bam bridge. Let's see what I did there. Jump off the Bam bridge there. But nah, when you look at what social media is saying about Bam, and I'm sure about this team at this exact moment, don't let it get you too down. People are going to have their opinions, and you expect people to be prisoners at a moment. This is why it's called fandom, because we nuts when they win and we just as nuts when they lose. So don't buy into exactly what they're saying about Bam yet, because no, Bam is certainly an all-star. 20-10 makes you that. When it matters the most, Bam is going to give you everything he has on both sides of the ball. We just got to hope that he go put that work in to get his rhythm back more sooner than later. And again, that probably starts it'll be best for the Miami Heat if that can start on Wednesday against the Denver Nuggets. So speaking about the Denver Nuggets, Dean, this is the Denver Nuggets team that the Miami Heat just faced on Thursday, February 29th, which is a week or so ago, losing to them in Denver 97-103. That game was a pretty close one. They played each other, fairly tight. Again, 97-103 wasn't a crazy blowout from either side. What are you expecting coming off of these back-to-back losses, 3 losses in a row, of course, this terrible loss to the Wizards, and with the team that beat you just last week coming into your building? I'm just asking, and the reason I say it like that, not that I automatically think one thing or another, but I'm sure all of that's on their mind. What are you looking forward to in this game, or what do you need to see from this Miami Heat team?
Honestly, I ain't even gonna lie. I thought we had Pistons next. I didn't even know we had Denver next.
Nope. See, I'm gonna get there though.
But I just need to see Miami Heat brand basketball. Like that's it. I honestly, bro, I don't even think we can beat Denver. I think Denver got our number. I think just like they got the Lakers number, I think they got our number too. I don't think we can beat Denver. I just want to see them put up a fight. That's it. Like Bam, I want to see Bam come out the slump he's in. I just want to see like, all right, we might have lost this game, but I see we starting to play Miami Heat basketball again. I'm not nervous going into this coming month. These last we got like 12 games left, if that. I just want to see competitive basketball.
About I think it's like let me see. So this was the 64th game, 65, 82. So 17 games left.
Yes, that's it. Just show me that we're ready for April. Yeah, we ready for April. In these next 17 games. That's all I need to see. I don't even care if we lose to Denver. I wouldn't be mad because I honestly don't think we can beat them.
That's a fact. Well, not a fact that we can't beat them. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand what you're saying. Like you said, man, I just want to see a competent team. I want to see a team that cares because I think this one Miami Heat team cares all of the time. They're a different team, and that's what happens when the playoffs start, and that's why we can see them play like this at times on the regular season. And then once the playoffs start, they become a completely different team because they always care. And that's not a great thing. That's not a good thing. I'm not agreeing with it. I wish they weren't that way because it wouldn't, cause us to feel this way throughout the season. Because, I mean, my heart was fluttering like during this Washington Wizards game. Not that, it should have been like that type of game, but of course, watching them trying to come back. But at the end of the day, just like for the last 6 minutes of the game, having to come to terms with the fact that they were about to lose not only their third game in a row, but to the Washington Wizards. In any event, I think they could beat the Denver Nuggets. I don't know if they will. But to your point, Deem, I just want to see them act like they care and come out and play Miami Heat ball, man. Because as you mentioned, after that, they do have back-to-back games against the Detroit Pistons. And even though they aren't on back-to-back days, they play in Detroit on the 15th of March, which is next Friday, followed by another matchup with the same Detroit Pistons team on Sunday, the 17th of March in Detroit as well. So a little home and home for the Pistons, but not in a traditional way. They get back-to-back matchups in there. I don't know. That's weird. I mean, I know they're trying to get all the games out of the way, and they've started this regional scheduling over the last 4 or 5 years. But I mean, I guess, man, I would say in any other situation, at least the Miami Heat can count on those being back-to-back wins. No matter what happens in Denver. But in light of these last 3 games, would you say that, Dean?
Man, they better not lose back-to-back games to the Pistons, man. I'm tired. I lose my, man. If they lose back-to-back,
man,
I don't care where they playing at. They better not lose.
That was a lie, man. That was a lie. But I just wanted to see what you was gonna say. I honestly think they could be competitive against Denver. Honestly, I think that these last 3 games I think they should have pissed them off. Honestly, especially losing to Washington like this, it should have pissed them off. Somebody should have threw something in their locker room tonight. You feel what I'm saying?
It should have been Bam.
I agree, but Bam should be mad at everybody, just like he should be. He should show that frustration towards his performance as well as everybody else.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like he need to be frustrated.
Right, exactly, and that's what I mean. And when I say that, I'm not like poo-pooing on him or nothing like that.
Is this next game nationally televised?
I think it actually is. Let me check ESPN's schedule real quick. And while I'm explaining myself, I wasn't saying that Bam should be frustrated with everybody else Wednesday. I was saying that he should, like you mentioned, Dean, should be frustrated with himself. So yeah, it's on Wednesday.
That's ESPN. So it should be.
That's definitely ESPN.
Yeah, I know ESPN got Wednesday games.
Yep. So that is at 7:30. Miami and Denver on Wednesday.
Yeah,
so Tuesdays, that is indeed a nationally televised game.
Yeah, Tuesdays like NBA TV, or no, Mondays NBA TV, Tuesdays and Thursdays is TNT, Wednesdays is
right. But I just didn't know the time slots because like sometimes they'll
I know.
I don't know, man. They take the weirdest games, man. I ain't even gonna hold you. All right. I mean, there's pretty much nothing else to say, man. This Miami Heat team just got to pick up the pace. They got to get back to playing Miami Heat ball. Spo got to get back to coaching the right. Jimmy Butler got to get serious and not wear those pigtails again.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
think,
man,
that's
that's why we lost right there. That's
why we lost. That's why we
yeah.
lost. Blaming on the pigtails. Never again, Jimmy. But look, man. At the end of the day, I still trust this team. I
Look
still
like a
trust this
foul
team to be
pup,
able to
bro.
make a deep run. I mean, they just gotta go out there and play like they're supposed to. Nothing about the last 3 games has shaken my faith in what I believe this Miami Heat team can do. Do I feel good? No. Have I liked what I've seen? Absolutely not. Am I gonna hate to get on, you know what I'm saying, the social media app for the next couple of days? Of course I am, but I'm gonna be right
Absolutely.
there. And just like I'm gonna be when the Miami Heat play the Denver Nuggets on Wednesday night, as they look to ramp it back up to make this run in the postseason. Again, there's nothing to feel good about in these last 3 games, especially losing to the lowly Washington Wizards. But at the end of the day, it's the ebbs and flows of the season, and we got to trust that Spo can get these boys right because we've seen them succeed more than we haven't seen them succeed in this particular era of Miami Heat basketball. What you got as we close them off the air, Dean?
Oh man, just play Miami Heat brand basketball. That's all I want to see, man. I just want to see just them be competitive, bro. Like,
That's it.
yeah, that's it, man. Like, get angry. Like, I want Bam to take over that UD spot 100%. Like, get in them huddles and be upset with yourself. Be upset with the team performance because you guys know y'all can play better. Like, just take over, man. Like you're the leader of the team. Be a leader vocally, most importantly, and just lead us, bro. Like, that's it. Take that,
Absolutely,
fill
man.
that void, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, when this Miami Heat team is playing at their best, it's ball and man movement offense, and the defense is playing on the rope, point blank, period. And I just, once we see that, no matter if the shots are falling or not, it'll be so much havoc and chaos that they typically come out on top. In any event, man, I got nothing else. You got anything else, Dean?
Nah, I'm good, man. Ready for that
Look,
Denver
man.
game. It's gonna be a good
Yeah,
match.
look, yo, short and sweet. We're on to Denver. On to Denver, man. Listen, I got nothing else, man. Make sure you follow Deem at BL Deem on Twitter. Make sure you follow me at K_said K on Twitter. Well, X now. I'm sorry. We all still call it Twitter. Y'all know how we do. But other than that, man, thank you for lending your ear to this sound. That's Deem. I'm K. 3-game losing streak, but we're gonna be all right on the Biscayne Breakdown. Holla.
Yeah, yeah. When I pull up on the scene, damn.